Well, well, well. Huh. Okay, that works. Okay, mic's working. Good. Welcome, everyone. Whether you're watching this now or you're watching this later, there has been a lot of news and breakdown. Yeah, long time no see, Marcos. I was planning on doing this off season, next week, next Monday. But of course, because of all the Kwesi news, um, with the firing and all that, I have to bump it up because I wanted to see the results of, I wanted to, but you know, um, Alex, Dom, hello, Charles. Oh, this has been a weekend of Kwesi fired, and then everything that all the news articles, whether I know the scapegoats and all the stories, and it's just yeah. Um, Hello, Daniel. Well, so we have to start obviously with Friday morning. I was a couple hours late to reacting to the news because earlier the morning I went out for breakfast, and then I came home, and then tired and went back to sleep to take a nap, which was right before the news broke, and then I got up like a couple hours later, and then yeah yeah so and then I saw the news. I'm like, holy crap, holy crap. So, and then I was like, okay, like this is happening, but we obviously, I know a lot of people have already talked about this, but I want to let everything, the fall. I mean, there's gonna be more fallout. We know that. We know there's gonna be more fallout. But there's been a good enough amount where I'm like, okay, I can sort of have a good amount of reaction to this. So, um, yes, Falcons are expected to release Kirk Cousins. We'll get to what possible, that quarterback situation just in just a moment. But obviously, Kwesi, I was hoping he was gonna, a lot of Viking fans, hoping he was gonna get fired. I was hoping he would get fired, but of course, it took a long time for Kwesi to get fired. It wasn't like right after the season. Like, I know the Wilfs like to take their time, but there's like a lot of time. They let Kwesi even go to the Senior Bowl, which, I mean, like, if you're gonna fight, I mean, you thought before then. I mean, did the Wilfs see Sam Darnold go to the Super Bowl? I know that's the thing. Like the timing. Oh, it has to be because of Sam Darnold um, going to the Super Bowl, the optics of it, and maybe that could have played a little bit of factor into it. Absolutely. But I don't think that was just the main thing. Main thing. I do think the draft. I mean, the drafting is the big eyesore for the most part. Yeah, I know. When I was reacting, like they made the post. I'm like, thanks for nothing. It was more in regards to just like everything, and you know, um, how everything, like a lot of the drafting was very poor, especially that 2000. I mean, analytics. I mean, that's the I mean, he did remember he was part of the Browns before he came with us, and I think now we were like, okay, maybe like analytics guy. That's just not what we need. And hearing like he's like PFF for a lot, a lot, and all this, and we just need like a football guy, and and it just was really telling. I mean, did he get like a little bit a time, like, I mean, only like a tiny bit better from 2022. Yeah, but that was just because that was just so bad with Lewis Seen, you know. Um And that whole debacle and that trade with Detroit. I mean, we're gonna get to the quarterback position. Don't worry. I'm doing Kwesi fallout first. Um, but we'll get to the all that. But Kwesi, it was the drafting that was for me was like a very big reason why. And then he did hit on I mean, not to say that he didn't hit on draft. I mean, players, but like Jordan Addison and probably, I probably maybe they sat, maybe they talked beforehand and then they talked to Kwesi. They felt it was clearly not going to work and result in him letting him go. They probably did. And the thing is, I will say, I do want to say something. Like, I'm not sure if KOC was involved in this or not because I won't. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say I did see KOC. What was it? Was it January? I actually saw KOC at Terminal 2. He was flying out the Saturday, January 24th. Uh so that weekend. So I don't know. And that was then I think that was with his and that was during the whole winter storm. So that's why he was going. That's why I'm like, well, he's not taking Delta or anything. But besides the point, maybe they did console, Kevin O'Connell, the coaches like that week, but like weeks prior, the week and a lot of people's feedback, the week right after the season and all that, and then they went to Kwesi, like you said, after the NFC Championship game. It's like this is just not going to work. Um, and I would have liked this to get done a little bit sooner, but it is what it is. I mean, like what did I say? Jordan Addison, when he's not a knucklehead, can be good. You got Dallas Turner, who's, you know, at first we're just, figuring out like, is he gonna, but then he definitely ascended a lot this year. And then obviously Will the Thrill, Reichard, the kicker, very important position. And then obviously the free agency, this past free agency, not so great, but the previous one, pretty much did a very good job. Um, and Van Ginkel being the biggest one in my opinion. But hey, I've been, we're we're living. We're I mean we're doing all right. We're doing all right. Um, but and then, so now we're going to talk about the quarterback position. And because that's the big thing that obviously, we got Saint, obviously the whole in terms of what we should get, but like Dan, it was like Sam Darnold, was he gonna? I don't think it was in the cards for him to come back. Um, at most, I don't think we're going to give the money that we did that we were going to, that he wanted to get, and it wasn't going to be for as long as he wanted it to be. It was probably going to be like a 2-year deal at max. And yeah, and you know, and he deserved more than that. There were more than that. And we weren't gonna give that to him. And even if he did come back, I don't think we go to the Super Bowl. I really don't, because then you don't get some of the free. I mean, you don't get. I'm not saying all the free agents were bad, but you probably because I think Will Fries was solid. Um, Isaiah Rogers at times could be amazing, um, but Besides really that, I mean, not really hit. So let's say you don't get one of those guys. Like Will Fries, definitely that was a big contract. You sign Sam Rowan, but you don't get you don't get Will Fries. Well, then the blocking's not going to be that great. Okay, you get Ryan Kelly, but like he was injured. I mean, you basically end up with the same thing. Um, as last year, and I just don't think. I mean, at most, what could have happened, and let's just say that in terms of cost, you know, best cost without JJ McCarthy. Let's say, without JJ McCarthy starting possible, it was going to be Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers was, probably going to be the cheapest veteran option. I explained, I think I explained mine. I think we won maybe a couple more games with him. You would have would have won the division, because you win that Bears game, you maybe beat like the Steelers or whatnot. You get that number 2 seed. Then you beat then the Bears would have been the 7th seed. And then let's say you beat the Bears, for example, at home, and then what? And then maybe and then and then what? So San Francisco won. They would have still played Seattle. And we would have to play the Rams. Like, okay, like I don't think we could go far. I think that's sort of your best case scenario. Hell, maybe we would have lost to the, for example, still one and done. But like, it's like one and done, or maybe you win a playoff game. I just don't see like how we would have gone to the Super Bowl. The defense has played great down the stretch this season. Brian Flores deservingly getting that contract extension. And that's something else to keep in mind, because in terms of how everything down the line is going to go. So but so that so whether it was Sam Darnold or Aaron Rodgers, I mean, or who else, or even like, I don't even think Daniel Jones was not an option. Daniel Jones was not even an option. He wanted to be a starter, and the Colts were guaranteed, because of Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, I think Daniel Jones would be Anthony Richardson if he didn't get hurt. So yeah, Drake May. I mean, Drake May in the Super Bowl. I did want Drake May. I really wanted Drake May, but 3 first-round picks. I mean, we're still not getting him. And it's still not being able to get him. It was just not going to happen. We offered 3 first-round picks, and that's how important the quarterback position is. And probably the next most important is the backup quarterback position. So, and talking about, New England was not moving. End of story. Hello, Luke. New England was not moving whatsoever. So it was sort of McCarthy. It was sort of like destined to be, JJ McCarthy a starter. And I would have and it was like, it was thrown in. What was it? It was what was it? God. I already forgot. We traded for someone in the draft, the Seahawks quarterback. I can't think of the name right now off the top of my head. And then we cut him. Sam Howell. Okay, Sam Howell. Yes, Sam Howell. and then shortly we just insert like, yeah, Sam Howell. I'm so like, this is like, because it's just like, yeah, and then Carson Wentz, we grabbed him last minute, so it was just it almost felt like it was. I wanted it almost would have benefited if he would have JJ McCarthy would have had some competition in hindsight, obviously. I think we're so like anti was it the whole Rogers watch and all that stuff, and but like JJ McCarthy. I mean JJ McCarthy, or sorry, Sam Darnold. I don't think I think I explained this earlier. I know you weren't here, Luke. I don't think Sam Darnold gets to the Super Bowl. I think maybe at best, maybe you win maybe you definitely go to the playoffs. Maybe not. You win a playoff game, and then you definitely lose in the divisional round. So, but in terms of this off season, in terms of the quarterback position, at the very minimum competition, whether that is a Mac Jones, someone else. I mean, I know other names have been thrown around like Will Levis and all that, but there needs to be competition. It just cannot be handed on a silver platter. Competition builds the quarterback. And no Josh Rosen. But competition, can help out a lot. And I know now I'm gonna get to the big, the thing. Now I'm gonna get to this one, this thing that a lot of Viking fans have been throwing around. Is it possible for us to get Joe Burrow? Let me simply answer this. No. I mean, Joe Burrow really, Joe Burrow, like it's a pot's pie. That is pie in the sky thinking. Unless he demands, a trade, there is no way we trade for him. And Mac Jones, it's sort of like the writing on the wall. The writing on the wall is Mac Jones. He's going to compete with JJ McCarthy, whether he wins or doesn't. Whether whoever wins the quarterback job, will be the quarterback. Now will now who would win that spot? I honestly have no idea. There has been reports, in terms of like, okay, whose decision was it to pick JJ McCarthy? I know Kwesi has been the scapegoat for a lot of things, but it was at the lead was Kevin O'Connell via Alec, and this is via Alec Lewis, the Vikings athletic reporter. The entire 2024 draft process that led to the Vikings picking JJ McCarthy was orchestrated, designed, executed with Kevin O'Connell as the primary lead. Now, of course, that would make sense because because he is the quote unquote quarterback whisperer, all that. He won his, he of course he would get that pick on that. And we still don't know for sure if he is the if he's not for sure if he's the franchise guy. We did see a little bit sparks of maybe at the end, like obviously the first game, and then at the fourth quarter of the first game, that Detroit game, and then at the end. Yes, I know there's people, the quality of the defense is at the end, Dallas defense, Giants defense, blah blah blah. But there is I'm not gonna fully I mean, am I sort of still on the like down side? Yes, but like I'm still like, okay, you showed at the end. There is still there's some promise if you can stay healthy. The thing is, the healthiness is gonna be the tricky thing, just because it's just you need to stay healthy in this league. And you do need that, and that's why you need that insurance, like a Mac Jones. Now, will Mac Jones be the new Sam Darnold? If Mac Jones ever has to step in or wins the quarterback job, I don't. I really do. We don't know that. We don't know that. You've shown that he has some flashes, in San Francisco. I would hope that if he were ever to be put in a situation that, with the weapons that we got, that he can succeed. But I'm not. I don't know if I would expect. I don't want to expect the exact same level of success as Sam Darnold. But I definitely think, what needs to happen next season, because now all the pressure is on Kevin O'Connell. So I'm thinking next season, you need to make the playoffs. If you're Kevin O'Connell, you need to make the playoffs, or else you're definitely gone. You do not, because now all the decisions are on you. They've been making a lot. I mean, obviously this decision we found out today that this decision was made earlier in the week. It was that this decision was made earlier in the week. They just like finally, like really came together on it, on that Friday. But they've been making moves. They hired former Dolphins OC Frank Smith as assistant head coach, and they promoted Keith Carter as offensive line coach. I think he was assistant offensive line coach. Making Gerald Alexander defensive pass game coordinator. Now the defense moves, I think, were Brian Flores's. It's a combination. Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, how they're gonna build the roster. So I think all the defense moves, like it's a lot of Brian Flores' input. He's basically the coach of the defense. And then former Jaguars DC Ryan Nielsen, the D line coach. So they're already making a lot of moves. Ryan Nielsen is gonna. Oh, did I already say that? Yeah, already. Ryan Nielsen, run game coordinator. Yeah. So those are the moves that they've made so far. Injuries can and will happen in the NFL, but how many more injuries are? We got to win a freaking playoff. Here's the thing. That's another thing I was going to mention. It's you think it because you have Mike Zimmer winning a playoff game in his first. What was it? We won a playoff game in what was it? Wait, it was against in the Saints 2017. That was his first one. I'm trying to the Minneapolis Miracle and all that. And, you got, what was it? I know people like Brad Childress went up on a playoff game. It was against within his first, so many years. So there's a lot of pressure for KOC to win a playoff game. And I think winning a playoff game now the thing is, do the Vikings need to win a playoff game for Kevin O'Connell to stay? That is sort of the debate right now. And it honestly could be, you know, it's, I mean, especially depending on, I mean, if the, depending on the opponent and all that. And, you, I don't know, but it just, I mean, it almost feels like it almost feels like do or die. And it like, because you do have someone waiting in the wing if, if you do decide, if we like don't make the playoffs or don't, I don't know. I can't answer if we don't win a playoff game, but make the playoffs, but don't win a playoff game, will KLC get fired? I still need to think. I mean, I still need to really think about that. But it could possibly, that could be a possibility that we would need to win a playoff game. Sort of like how Mike Zimmer, we were gonna fire him probably after the season. We're probably gonna fire him after the season, but we won that wildcard playoff game against the Saints in their stadium. But because we won that one, Mike Zimmer got to stay. So maybe a playoff win is a necessity as well. So, but I don't know. We'll see in regards to that. But we do have someone in the case that things don't go as planned. We do have someone waiting in the wing, whether that is a Brian Flores, because I think that's also the thing. Like, Brian Flores didn't get hired in the head coach cycle. There was 10 openings. Steelers was the only logical one, but they went with of course, Pittsburgh does Pittsburgh things, and they hired someone who's from Pittsburgh in Mike McCarthy. But don't go with Brian Flores. I mean, of course, that whole his case is still going on, so that could be a deterrent to why maybe don't hire Brian Flores. But hopefully, by the time next offseason comes, that his case will get all through and all that with the NFL. But we do have, like I said, Brian Flores in the case. I know this is like very forward, but then you could, but Grant Udinski could also be a possibility in case everything goes to hell next season. So those are the two. But that's just like me going too forward thing now. But in terms of this season, this upcoming off season, I don't think I can't see it. I can't see it. I don't know. I think Steelers was the best possible. Was really the one big one that Flores could have got. I don't know. I think they're gonna let Taylor maybe is this Taylor's last year on his contract. I have no idea, but they're probably going to let it play out because each Bengals owners are so cheap and all that stuff. But in terms of cap space as well, God, luckily we have someone called Ryan Brzezinski. Yeah. Who does cap very well. I've been seeing, the Vikings can maybe open up some cap space. Good amount of cap space, but without cutting players. We will definitely be cutting players I think the big one everyone's talking TJ Hawkinson, probably. He just hasn't looked the same ever since Kirby Joseph did a number on his knee. Um, he just looks a little, I don't know, looks a little bit more lethargic and all that. I mean, he can still be good at times. I think that's gonna be um a one big cut, and then obviously Ryan Kelly. I mean, he just needs to retire. Honestly, the amount of concussions he's had. But obviously, we can do some. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of restructuring. That's how Brzezinski is going to be doing things. Will Fry's, that big contract, we can restructure that. And Justin Jefferson, that big deal, restructuring that as well. But there definitely is going to be some cuts, and you know the, and because of the cap situation, may not be as big spenders in free agency this time, unless unless something crazy happens. But the fact that we're not hiring a GM until after the draft is shocking, but not shocking, just because we're already like past Senior Bowl and all that. It's a lot of catch up to do for a new GM. Now, whether Ryan Brzezinski is going to be, he's the interim GM right now, who is our cap guy. Whether he's going to be GM, if he does become cool, whether it is someone outside, I think what was the one guy I've been seeing? Was it McKay or something? John McKay. I've been seeing that name being floated around. But yeah, I know. I remember they were showing the highlights, and he was like catching with it was like his chest, not like his hands as much. Yeah, Rams executive. Yeah, those are the two, like, whether it's going to be a promotion or whether it's going to be McKay. I wouldn't mind those two. God, no. Guys, please. We're not doing that. So, Wild won in overtime. Good. What was I getting to? I was throwing off a little bit. The Vikings now. We got to talk about the Kwesi, the whole story, that fallout, the whole paternity leave and all that. I said at the time that, I replied someone, time with family is very important. But also, you're the GM. And with that, was 2 weeks a long time, and all that, and it was during training camp. But he was doing it from online. I think you can go over it from two perspectives. Obviously, family. I'm like all about the family and all that. Is um I think Kwesi. I mean, you. I don't know. They made such a big. I think they made they. It's. I know what Ben Lieber said too. Um, his opinion. He made his opinion made. Um, you know, I at first my initial reaction was like, oh, why do you why are we criticizing him though so much? Um, but um, I think he did. I like yeah. I mean, it's a little bit. It's like like I get the timing and all that. I mean, can you do your job online while not being in person for that? I mean, you could. I mean, but the thing is, you also have like a scouting department as well. Um, I don't know. It's I'm I don't really have too strong of opinion. I don't have too strong of opinion um on that whole situation. I mean, what the middle ground is you take a week with for paternity. I mean, it was the firstborn. Like firstborn's a big deal. It is a big deal. Um, but obviously I don't think that I mean, I think the drafting still overall, if we're getting to the main point, the drafting overall was the main point. Um, I think Kwesi was. I think after that story went out, I think it's just a little bit. At some point, there's got to be a little bit. I think you got once that was like a little bit like okay, yes, Kwesi deserves a lot of criticism. I agree. Kwesi deserves a lot of criticism for how he handled a lot of moves, but I'm not gonna put I'm not gonna put 100% of the blame on him. Like I know Kevin O'Connell is involved too. You know, we just don't know exactly how much was distributed. Obviously, GM makes the final decision and all that, but but I do believe more in Kevin O'Connell than Kwesi in terms of their roles, just because Kevin O'Connell, for what Kwesi has given him, or like what they decided, like he has made because we're head coach and general manager different. He's made the most. He usually makes the most out of things. And the one season we didn't go above 500 was Kirk Cousins gets injured, and then you had like you have like Jaron Hall, Josh Jobs, Nick Mullins, and all that. I mean, we still got to 7-10, and you argue we probably should have been a little bit better than that. You win that, that Bear game and maybe that Cincinnati game that we blown. That Saturday Cincinnati game, like I think Kevin O'Connell still can be stuck in his ways, obviously. But he does usually make the most out of what he has dealt with. I think he makes the most what is he's dealt with. Um so yeah. Um yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a crazy off season um to what the Vikings are gonna do and how they handle the like I said, the cap situation. Kirk Cousins, yeah, that's another one we need to talk about. Kirk Cousins, I forgot about that for a split second until you brought that one up. Kirk Cousins could be a possibility too. I think Kirk Cousins now at his age knows, okay, not, I'm not going to play to be a starter. I'm fine being a backup. And I'd rather be a backup to someone who, hey, maybe I do have a chance to win the starting position over. I do think that is a possibility. I'm still leaning toward Mac Jones being who it's going to be, but Kirk Cousins is definitely in the cards for the Vikings. I think the Falcons are still going to be eating a lot of the cap, so I think it'll be still a decent, fair um, pickup for the Vikings if they choose Kirk Cousins. And if it is Kirk Cousins, I wouldn't be surprised with. I don't know. I don't know if I mean who would have the better shot at winning that job because I do see that's the other thing. The Achilles tear. Did he play like a little bit like the year after okay, so the year after the Achilles tear, terrible. The year after that, he played a little bit better, but not like that much better. It's you know, but I don't know. It's just like you gotta try. It's like you sort of got like like a little security blanket on, like he knows, but then you're going for like the unknown. Would you trade Jordan Addison for Mac? I think we can get Mac Jones. I don't think we need to trade Jordan Addison. Now, could we now if we trade Jordan Addison, let's just talk about the topic of trading Jordan Addison just in general, not like Jordan Addison. I know the charges were dropped with that was it loitering around like a bar or whatever in was it Florida? Was it Florida? Was it I don't know. Um I just because I don't know if we're gonna extend him and give him because if Jordan Addison, this is just different. Jordan Addison gets more money. I'm afraid of what he's gonna do. I think about the things he could possibly do, and I'm just like, oh my god, he could get in so much more trouble. Like the more money, like he said on draft night, like let's time to get paid and all that. Like he's a good wide receiver at times. Like I know he made that great, he makes good plays from time to time. Like I don't know. Do we just I like my mind just going like, oh, maybe just let him play him this contract and I don't know. Could we maybe like get get that deal? I don't know that down extension down if we do extend him. I don't know. I don't know. And Jalen Naylor has been rising up, so more money, more problems. I don't know. I just like Jalen Naylor maybe be looking more like I mean, depending on how I know he is. It's like you have it in your hand. Like on one hand, it's like okay, we could not have to spend as much money on an extension, but at the same time, he could be in a lot more problems. And it's just like in a lot of these situations, I recognize what he's by himself. Like I feel like he's just alone. He's a lone soul, and part of me does feel a little bit bad for him because he's like always like by himself when he gets in these situations. It's just like this guy. I don't know. He's just so. And obviously Justin Jefferson can't be there to hold his. Can I mean he can be there to give him advice, support, whatever him, Chris Carter, whatever, whoever in the. But like at some point, you gotta learn from your mistakes, and I don't know. I don't know. But but the safe option would probably be, having being Jalen Hiller being wide receiver 2, and then maybe you draft someone, maybe you draft someone. I don't know. But just let Jordan. But if you can't find anyone to trade Jordan Addison, just let him play the rest of the contract. I feel like that's the safe thing to do. Just let him play the rest of the contract. Um, and maybe I don't know if I don't even know if they give him the 5th-year option or not. But that's sort of where my mind is at. Any centers you're in, any center. I haven't. I won't lie. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't looked too far into the draft. Right now, I just want to get through the Super Bowl right now. And take some time a little bit, let things soak in. And then, once combine, I'm like, once combine goes, I'm like, okay, I can really get into it. But like that will be coming up. That will be coming up, and then obviously free agency. So I haven't really looked too much um into the draft right now. So I'm just yeah, and then also and then obviously also while this is mainly a Vikings, very focused on the Vikings. I like to, I can't wait s- um stream, Wild and Timberwolves games. Now, unfortunately, obviously after the Super Bowl, football season, over, the NBA gonna be on All-Star break, and then the Winter Olympics, so the Wild are going to be playing. So, oof. Pat Cooligan, Indiana center, but we need to get him. Yeah, I think center. I think I've been a believer in it starts and ends in the trenches. Trenches first. Well, obviously after, like, make sure you got, but yeah, that's another one. Harrison Smith. I know he hasn't like officially announced retirement, and there is a chance that he could maybe come back. There's a very slim chance he could come back. If he were to come back, I don't think it would be like, okay, at the start of the season. It'd be like, okay, if the Vikings are in a good position at the end of toward the end of the season, then he would come back. But um, so that would be the only way I think Harrison Smith comes back is because and the thing is Brian Flores is going to be back as defense coordinator, so that's why the window's still open. If Brian Flores was not back, if he wasn't back, yeah, he's definitely like never. He's like done. But I would not be shocked if Harrison Smith toward the end of the season, if we're doing okay, and he really believed that we could do something, would come back. So yeah. And then obviously Sam, as we know, and just like thoughts, just before the Super Bowl, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl, will it hurt a little bit? Yeah, of course. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's gonna hurt a little bit, but you know, but I'm gonna know deep inside. But I'm just gonna remind myself deep inside, like if he was a bet with us, we would not have, that would not have been us. Um, and the Patriots, yeah, we would not have gotten Drake May. That it was never a possibility. So I would not feel nothing. I would not feel nothing toward that. Um, if the Patriots won the Super Bowl. So, and I know if the Patriots win, it's just the dot. It's just like we got rid of the Chiefs, but the Patriots are coming back, and it just sucks. It just sucks. Um, so I don't know. I mean, it's it's not a fun it's not a fun time. So, but um, but what is fun is going to be the Wild and Wild, well, more the Wild than the Timberwolves, down the stretch. I wish we didn't have to play in the man for any other division, we'd be in a good spot. But when you got Colorado in your division, it's it's gonna be a time. So yeah, Sammy, yeah, a little bit deep inside, like deep inside. But I'm like, okay, you know what? You did it. You did it. See, wow. See, I have Patriots 13 as well, but I think the Patriots defense has shown that they won't allow 40. I don't think the Patriots defense will allow 48 points. I think they're not. I mean, that's more than the 49ers let up. I don't know. JSN, hey, JSN 200 yards. That's my offensive player of the year. So yeah. um, Anything else I want to talk about in terms of the Vikings? Wilfs. I don't know. Hopefully, um, you know, they go with a football guy, and not as much analytics guy. After once they go through the process after the draft, so yeah, still good owners at the end of the day. Um, Unlike the Twins, Paul Lads, screw it, screw you. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a crazy. Yeah, I don't even really think about too much. Oh, Marcus. Oh wait, we got more news, guys. We got more news. Oh wait a minute, we got break. We got news. Marcus Dixon is joining the Cowboys to coach their defensive line. No, no. I had a feeling it was a possibility, but I was really hoping it was not. He made a lateral move. I actually got to meet Marcus Dixon. Good guy. Hopefully they're still good dialing the blitzes as they were this past season. We knew how the Vikings were blitzing, especially against the Lions. I mean, you saw Jared Goff absolutely like under pressure the whole game. And it's cool that we didn't finish last. The Vikings 2026 opponents this season are the home teams are the obviously Bears, Packers, Lions, but also the Falcons, Panthers, Bills, Dolphins, Commanders, and Colts. A lot of a lot of winnable games there. The away teams, obviously, again, Bears, Packers, Lions. But then you got the Saints, the Buccaneers, the Jets, the Patriots, and the 49ers. So I don't know. I currently don't have a record prediction. I hope we go to the playoffs just because we're playing the NFC South. Of course, you got the Jets and the Dolphins, winnable. We'll see how like the Colts are and the Commanders if they're going to rebound. Hopefully, like split some of these divisional games and not get swept. So, yeah, gonna be gonna be interesting. I do plan on going to some of these games, so there won't be as many game streams this coming season. The Patriots, definitely gonna go to. No matter if it is a Thursday, a Monday, whatever, I'm gonna attend that game. Because that's a family affair. And then other games I'm thinking about going to. Obviously, if some friends can work out, I think I mentioned. I know I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned this, but like Dolphins at home. That's 2 TBD, and then 49ers away. Again, 2 TBD. But those ones could be a possibility. So yeah. Um, yeah. So and just some comments, about any other news that happened. Like for example, like the international. We're gonna have a lot of international games, and I know and the Wills. We're gonna be international friendly. I know the Wilfs are going to be international friendly. They're going to. We're probably going to, if we get 2 international games again. I'm like, oh my god, like it can be. I mean, one is okay, and I know each team eventually is going to play one, but I just don't want to do. I just don't want to do the 2 again. Just no. So yeah. That's all. That's that's all I got here, folks. In terms of Kwesi, I don't think. I'm just thinking. Did I miss anything else? We talked about chaos. KFC. Talked something about the Wills, Flores. Yeah, I think we got everything. Oh, Wes Phillips. One other thing, Wes Phillips. I don't know what he does. Uh, I don't know. I mean, because KFC is the de facto office coordinator. I don't know. Hopefully, he can do something. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what we're gonna. I don't know what's going to be with that position. Um, but um, hopefully, does. Hopefully, we can improve on offense. um. So, yeah, that starts with the quarterback position. So, yeah. Alrighty, folks. I know I know weird ending there, but thank you all for coming and listening to me yap. Um, um, we'll see if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl. If he does that, or if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, but we'll be once the off season comes, free agency shorts and all of that, when the news happens. Hopefully I won't be taking a nap the next time big news happens for the Vikings. But yeah. Um and yeah, so thank you all for watching. This has been Adam, also known as Minnesota Vikings Man 28. And as always, Skull and yeah, peace.